Hi guys, welcome back to Kaitlyn's Corner. Today we had the wonderful privilege of interviewing the one and only Frida Kahlo. Please stay tuned.
Frida, thank you so much for being a guest here on Kaitlyn's Corner this week. It means a lot that you had the time to come here and interview with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Kaitlyn. I'm so excited to be here and speak with everyone today.
I want to begin by starting talking about your childhood and what it was like as young Frida. Based off what I've read, it sounds like you were born from a German father and Mexican mother. What was growing up as young Frida like?
Growing up, I was very curious as a child, despite having polio. I was very active in bowls and I dreamed of becoming a doctor. And art wasn't really my focus at the time, and it wasn't something I was interested in yet.
That makes a lot of sense, because based off what I read, it sounds like you attended National Preparatory School in Mexico City, which, during the time period, was an impressive feat for a young woman. What was that experience as being one of the only women in your class like?
Yes, I was one of very few women that attended that school, and I love science and philosophy, but my entire life changed after the accident in 1925.
1925, that was the year of the bus accident, correct?
Yes, I was 18 and my friend Alejandro and I were taking a bus into Mexico City, and that's when the bus collided with a trolley car and a metal handrail pierced through my skin. The doctors told me I would never walk again. Scariest moment of my life.
Throughout your lifetime, you endured over 30 surgeries. How did you cope with this?
So I was confined to my bed at all times, and my parents then bought me a lap easel and mirror so that I began painting and doing self-portraits, and that became my medicine. This was my escape from the painful planet, transparent as ice, as I used to call it.
One of your first major works, Self-Portrait in a Velvet Dress, is so expressive. When you were creating it, what were you thinking?
There felt like there was a storm inside of me, and the background represents my mindset at the time. This was the first time I painted myself with my unibrow without apology, and this is also where I was able to express my true self through art.
Throughout your career, you have pushed boundaries and been a symbol of empowerment, particularly amongst women pushing the societal and gender norms that have been placed upon them. Self-portrait with cropped hair is one of the clearest examples of this rebellion.
After I divorced Diego, I cut my hair and painted that. I'm in his suit holding scissors. The lyrics at the top say, "Look, if I loved you, it was for your hair. Now that you're bald, I don't love you anymore." I was taking back power. At the time, women typically didn't express personal trauma in their artwork. My work was both personal and political, especially regarding women's experiences.
Let's talk about Diego Rivera for a moment. He was not only your husband, but a huge influence in your life, both personally and professionally.
Diego was complicated. We met through the Communist Party in 1928. He was a great muralist and I admired him. We married twice, but he had many affairs, even with my youngest sister, Christina. It broke my heart.
But you had relationships with others. Chevelle Vargas, Nicholas Marais, Leon Trotsky.
Yes, I loved men and women freely and openly. Chevelle Vargas had a very special place in my heart. Trotsky, he was an interesting man. And Nicholas, he took many of my famous photographs that everybody knows and loves today. And my relationships were honest, just like my paintings.
And that was represented through your artwork. Your bust painting in 1929, what were you trying to reflect there?
In my bust painting, it was reflecting Mexico's social system at the time. The worker, housewife, indigenous mother, businessman, I sympathized with the dispossessed, and this also depicted my bus accident.
In 1932, you painted Henry Ford Hospital and Cesarean Operation, both those paintings dealing with deeply personal pain. What was that like?
So on July 4th, I had a life-threatening miscarriage. Henry Ford Hospital showed me bleeding in the hospital bed surrounded by symbols, a snail, a fetus, a flower decaying, and the flower decaying represented my relationship with Diego at the time. Frida and the Cesarean shows what I hoped could happen, but didn't. And that was a painting I couldn't finish because the pain just affected me deeply.
In 1939, you painted two Fridas. What did that painting mean?
It represented duality. One, I loved Diego, but felt rejected by him. The other, I was trying to learn to survive without him. The two hearts are connected, but if you look closely, I'm holding surgical scissors to cut that pain and become my own person. I realized I could depend on myself and I didn't need a man.
Frida, your honesty was radical, especially for women at the time.
Well, women during my time were not allowed to talk about miscarriages, pain, betrayal, affairs, any of that stuff, but I did. My work wasn't meant to be pretty. It was meant to be true, for myself especially.
Thank you for coming on today and sharing your courage and honesty because it continues to inspire generations of young women. Thank you again for coming on to Kaitlyn's Corner today and sharing your story. It truly was an honor.
Today, Frida Kahlo's legacy lives on. Her home, La Casa Azul, is now a museum visited by thousands every month. Diego helped preserve her home after she died and all of her personal belongings, making sure that her home was a place where people could come and try to understand who she was. She's now in a pre-Columbian urn, currently in La Casa Azul, and the last thing she ever wrote in her diary was, "I hope the exit was joyful and I hope to never return." Please tune in next week to watch us interview Diego Rivera in order to get his side of the story. Thank you for watching Kaitlyn's Corner.